Good morning, Central Texas. Welcome to Community Connections 1031. I'm Phyllis Jones. I am your host this morning, and we have some guests. And you know what? It's cool because, everybody knows I would rather see children on my show than adults. I do. And the reason is because we need to highlight our youth whenever we can. Because, we're good at trashing them. We're good at telling them what they can't do, don't do, and all those other things. But we fail to see when they do something, we don't say nothing. So this morning, I want to say something. But before that, I want to thank a few people. Last night at 8 o'clock, the Hilton Garden Inn caught on fire. The roof fell in and the top floor is gone. But some citizens last night, one of them was the Alphas. It was one of your frat brothers. A lot of them, but they stepped up and took some of the people from the hotel to a warming shelter. Because some of them had drove to the Hilton Garden Inn, but as you know, when fire breaks out, they couldn't leave the parking lot, their vehicles, so they were stuck, and they took them to the warming center. So I want to thank everybody who jumped in and did that, because that wasn't planned. It was just hey, guys, you see this hotel burning, and some people just jumped into place and started transporting them to warming centers, and then other people met them at the warming centers because they didn't have blankets or nothing, because, you running from your house with no power, no water to a hotel, and then all of a sudden this happens. So I want to thank everybody who, like I said, did that last minute, I got this, took people they did not know, from one place to another. So I just want to say thank you for that, because you didn't have to do it. And some of the people who've been volunteering since Thursday before last were some of the ones who were there last night. So like I said, once again, I want to say thank you, because that's showing that our community is community strong. And it's also showing our youth that adults, we can do something together, because we need to teach our youth that we can do things on the spur of the moment without being asked, begged, and dragged. We can actually do something. So I just want to say thank you for everybody who jumped in last night and saved some people. And also your water pressure, if you noticed this morning, is going to be a little lower, because they had to put that fire out, and they didn't have enough water pressure to put the fire out. Fort Hood had to bring some water over, and that still wasn't enough. So we're suffering from that also, and that should be repaired soon. But anyway, going to my show. Every year, I'm going to say it wrong so Steve can correct me. I'm going to say, I got that part. It's the rest you be telling me I got to say. Steve can say that, because I'm not going nowhere. That's, it's a lot for my brain to remember. But Alpha Phi Alpha every year, the Killeen area, they hold an oratorical for our young men. And it's on Martin Luther King. And every year they have 3 winners. And I've always said that I would invite the winners on the show for the same reason I just told you. I like our young people coming on the show to talk about what they're doing. So I want one of the alphas, though, to explain why you do the oratorical.
I'm here today, Steve Johnson. I'm one of the members of the oratorical committee for the Killeen chapter, Kappa Sigma Lambda. And each year we have an oratorical contest. This was our 4th year that we held it at Anderson Chapel Community Center. And thanks to our brother, Pastor Johnson, for allowing us, him and his church, allowing us to use the community center for this event. The purpose of this is to help young men, specifically 9th grade through senior, 12th graders, 9th through 12th, to get in the habit of speaking in front of others. We want young men to learn to research, gather information, and be able to speak publicly. And hopefully we can encourage them or inspire them to become the next Obamas of their generation.
So how many winners do you have? 1, 2, or 3?
We had 3 winners this year. Unfortunately, one of the winners had to work today and was not able to make it, but we have our first place winner, Mr. Jamal, and we have our third place winner, Mr. Coleman, right? Washington. I'm sorry. Coleman was the second place. I apologize. Mr. Washington. Jamal. I'm getting my names mixed up this morning. Oh, my goodness. Man, Artist was the second place winner. I apologize.
Hey, that's okay.
Artist, I apologize. I'm getting my names mixed up. I should have brought my sheet of paper that I thought about. But anyway. I apologize, gentlemen. But anyway, these gentlemen did a great job. And we have on our Facebook page, the Clean Alphas Facebook page, if you want to see the presentation, the whole presentation, you can actually go there. Mr. Jamal's speech is also on there by itself as well.
That's good. I like that. Okay, so you all know I don't remember your names, right? Y'all do know that. I work elementary school. I only have to remember the little people names. Anyway, and also with your mask on, your voice will sound kind of muffled, so you might want to take it down a little bit. So good morning, young men. How you all doing?
Good, and you?
I'm doing great. I am loving the weather. It's mine. I ordered it. Okay. Yeah, I ordered it. I put in the order, did my dance, and it's here. Anyway, the oratorical. First of all, how did you find out about it?
My teacher had actually told me about it because Mr. Rose, who is part of the fraternity, had posted it on our Schoology page, and my teacher pointed me to the link, and so I just decided to join.
Are you speaking to the mic?
Oh, I thought it could pick me up.
No, I won't. All right, go ahead.
My teacher had shown me the link on Schoology because Mr. Rose, he works at our school. He's part of the fraternity. He usually subs there. And so my teacher showed me what he had posted on Schoology.
And what made you enter it? I mean, so you saw it, and what made you decide, okay, I'm going to try it?
Well, I like to write, and I just thought it would be fun to try writing a speech. I'm usually used to, like, essays and stuff, so I just thought that this would be something different.
Okay, and was it easy or hard for you?
I'd say the writing process was pretty easy for me. Like, the class period she told me about it, I wrote it in that same class period. Of course, I tweaked it and stuff over the months that we had to prepare. The hardest part was the practicing, but that's mainly I'm a procrastinator, and I waited until the week of the contest to start memorizing it.
Right.
So I only had I had a few days left to memorize it, but I still was able to do well, in my opinion.
What was the topic?
What would Martin Luther King Jr.'s vision for 2021 be?
I think he'd come slap us in the head.
Well, this year was a little different than previous years. They were allowed to choose their own topics based off of what has happened in 2020, as well as he said, he chose 2021.
Okay. Wow. Okay, and how did you find out about it?
Okay.
And good morning.
Good morning, Miss Phyllis. So 3 years ago, when the Alphas first had their the first contest, one of our good friends, Pastor Mark Jordan, he gave me the application at church one day, and he figured, hey, I just think you should do this. So I took it, I looked at it, and at first I just threw it off because, I was like, hey, I've never spoken before. I don't really see myself as a speaker. But if it wasn't for my mother, then I would not be where I am today. She really pushed me to do it, and I'm in the same boat as Mr. Washington was in. I'm a procrastinator, so that's another reason why I didn't want to do it, because I felt like I had other things to do. I had better things to use my time on. But this contest has really helped me throughout the years, not just on speaking, but for research purposes. I've learned how to research properly, and I've learned much about not just the black culture, but what has been going on in the world lately. So that's how I found out about the competition.
So how did you do the topic? What was your part?
I also did similar to Mr. Washington. What would Dr. King's vision for 2021 be? I focus specifically on division in America, because that's what we have a lot of today. And not just not just Republican, Democrats, black, white, and it's everything, you know, rich, poor. It's so much division that you can go deep into. So that's what I did my topic about.
Okay, so what do you think about our division? And can we repair it?
I believe we can repair it. As I said in my speech, we have to first start with forgiveness and love, because if we can't forgive someone, then we can't move forward. And Dr. King will want us to move forward. So I do believe that we can repair the division. There is division, so I hope everyone can see that. But yes, it is not going to be easy, but I believe it can happen.
So what do you think we should first do? The first step.
The first step.
The first step. Let's say you are speaking right now, as though you are, and you're speaking with a group,
Mm-hmm.
and you talked about division.
Mm-hmm.
What would be something you'd say we need to do first?
First, go hug someone next to you. But I don't know. Find things in the local community that you can, you know, help with. Like, let's say there's shelters, community outreaches, or something like that. Go do something for your community first, because that will help, you know, unite the community as a whole. If we all just, you know, put our things down and go help someone in need, I think that would be the first step that we would need to take, helping one another, be a servant to someone.
So do you think it would help? Okay, I'm going to step on a whole bunch of toes right now, and you're going to help me. Do you think we would also need all the chiefs to take their hats off?
Yes, ma'am, because I believe that's taking a step down, kind of, you know, humiliating yourself. That's another thing we need to have. We need to have humility, because if we don't have humility, then we won't want to, you know, take our hats off and step down, because we feel like it's kind of downgrading ourselves. But that's what being a human is, having humility. You cannot have pride in your heart to help one another, to be a servant to one another.
Because I agree with what you're saying about the division. I really do. And I see, as you, but I see the biggest part of our division is you have too many people walk in the door with their titles.
Yes, ma'am.
And they don't know how to leave them outside the door.
Mm-hmm.
So they bring them in the door, and that destroys and helps the division stay.
Yes,
When we do that, we need to learn to come in somewhere quietly and learn a new word called listen, because it's a new word. People haven't, you know, taken it yet, but it's called listen, and we need to do that. So I agree with you with that. We need to do. So maybe you can help us.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, come on. You know,
I try my best.
we learn from you. You learn from us, but we also learn from you. Our young people don't realize that, but you teach us more than you think you do. We might not admit that, but you do. You teach us more than you think. We get set in a certain way, and you let us know that we need to shake it up a little bit, and we do. We're not going to admit it, but you all teach us that we need to get out of our comfort zone sometimes and enter the unknown zone and be comfortable in it. You all teach us that. You know, I have a granddaughter who lets me know that often, that I don't know where you're coming from, Grandma, with this. I'm like, okay, I'm sorry. But we need you all to help us, and we do have a division, and if you see it and we don't, then you need to let us know.
Yes, ma'am.
That is there, and don't be afraid to let us know. You know, if these three men in here, you see them at that impasse, you be like, hey, excuse me, excuse me, we already talked about this, and it's not being mean. You're not being mean, and you're not being rude when you do that. You're noticing something that maybe they didn't notice. But yeah, I agree with you with the division, though. I think we got one. We do. Also, we have a division on where we live. There's a north and south division.
Yes, ma'am.
It is. It really is. Yeah, it is. We need to fix that one, too. But, young man, what about you?
Excuse me.
Okay, your speech. And, yeah, your speech on what about 2021. What do we need to do?
I essentially talked about the unknown future and the known past, taking what we know from the past and applying it to our present, because a lot of people will redo the same thing, the old saying that history repeats itself. Well, even when we're aware that history repeats itself, we still tend to do the same things. And the definition of insanity, I'm probably going to butcher this, but it's repeating the same action and expecting a different result. And if we keep doing the same things, yet no change is happening, well, we have to realize something's wrong. And most of my speech, I forgot his name, I should have written this down, but it centered around a quote from a government official, and he spoke about the known knowns and known unknowns, and the unknown unknowns. And the known knowns are the things that we already know, and the unknowns are the things we know that we don't know. And then the unknown unknowns are the things we don't know. And it's impossible to prepare yourself for something that you don't know, which is what most of the future is. Like, we know that something might happen, but we don't know what it is. We're unaware, and I feel like if we're going into a future where we don't know what's going to happen, we can't expect for the same things to work every single time. We can't repeat and repeat and repeat and expect a different result, which is why I decided to center my speech around that idea, because clearly we need some kind of change, or else we're going to be in the same boat forever.
Okay, and like the young man I just asked, if you were speaking before all of us and letting us know what we need to do, what would you say to us?
Well, I'd probably piggyback off of what he was speaking about, the division, because just like I was saying with the known knowns, we can't fix something that we're not even aware of. Like, if we know we have a division, but we're not addressing that fact, then nothing's going to change. I would tell them the most important thing, if I was talking to an audience, I would tell them that we have to accept it at first. You can't change something that you don't accept. So first we need to realize that something's wrong, and then we can go forward from there and try to fix something.
Okay, so right now, you could say we as a people, we as the United States, however you want to put it, we're facing things that we almost faced before. And I'll say this, our segregations, we're going back to that. I mean, we're going backwards right now, and we're not realizing it. You all don't know it because you didn't live through it the first time. We were repeating some of the same things we did before. We did walkouts and sit-ins before, but now we're doing protests now. So we're repeating the same thing all over again. To your generation, it's new. But to most of us, a lot of us, I'll say we either read about it or we've been there. So we're repeating that again. So what should we do instead of keep repeating things like that, what we're doing today?
Well, I wouldn't say that these protests don't have some kind of effect, because clearly they do. They have the people talking, and they have people starting to notice that there's something wrong in our society. And I would never, disrespect the progress that was made by the movements during, an older generation. But I feel like we take too much from that. Like, we try to copy them so hard, and like I said, expect a different result. But we can't do what they did. We're never going to have the same effect. It's like, once you've already done something once, it kind of loses some of its meaning. So what I would say, and like he said, stepping down from the pedestal that you put yourself on, taking a step and seeing something from somebody else's perspective is exactly what we need to do. We as humans, we're all on the same playing field, but a lot of people see themselves as above others when they're clearly not. Whatever you believe in, like, at the end of the day, we are created all the same. And doctrine of our nation is built off of the idea that we were created equal by our Creator. And that's not going to change. But the people who have power right now, they're not following that. They're not seeing us as equal. They're seeing us as lesser. So I feel like we need to rethink what we're doing right now and kind of reposition ourselves to the point where we see each other as equals. Because until we see each other as equals, nothing's going to change. We might think we're better than others, but we're not. We're all the same at the end of the day when we still live in the same country.
Okay, so I'm going to ask you two the same question so you all can answer it. In our area, in our community, and what I mean in our community, I'm talking about Killeen Heights and Nolanville, because actually we consider ourselves only one community. Even though we're three different cities, we still consider it one whole community. So within our community, if Dr. Martin Luther King came tomorrow to our communities, what would he tell us? What do you think he would say about the way we are in just our own little community? What do you think he'd say, using what you talked about, what your speeches were about? What would he say? What do you think he would say?
I'm gonna try not to sugarcoat anything.
Don't do that. Yeah,
But-
we you know what? We've been too long pouring the sugar on there when we know it's bad for us.
Yes, ma'am.
So yeah, we need to get rid of that. Yeah. So go ahead.
So I think he would look at the Killeen, Harker Heights, Nolanville community. I believe he would look at them and he would not be too satisfied with not just, of course, appearance, but like how things go on in Killeen Heights and Nolanville. The question was, what would he say?
What would he say if he came here tomorrow to speak to our areas? What would it be a high five speech, or would it be a excuse me, you all need to do something speech?
I think it would be a kind of beat down speech.
Okay.
I think he would beat down on us because we really haven't been doing what we need to do as a community. You know, a community is supposed to, I guess you could say, be a family kind of. I think he would say we haven't really been the definition of a community. You know, if one person has hate against another person and people are killing each other and, you know, just people aren't bonding the way they're supposed to, then that's not really how a community can't really, you know, grow like that. He would tell us to set aside any hate that we have. He would tell us to get everything straight, do what we need to do, and, you know, fight for what we believe is right. I believe that we really aren't putting our effort into what we need to do, like building up our community. I don't believe we're really putting our effort into that. I think we're just, you know, fine. I think Killeen Heights and Nolanville is just kind of like fine where we are at. I don't think Dr. King would like that. He would tell us we need to advance because the world is always advancing. And if we don't advance with it, then we're just going to be out there on our own, just going backwards, like you said. So I believe he would just tell us to again, set aside any pride we have and just come together, like I was saying before, and do those things that we need to do to be the definition of a community.
So what would you say to your generation?
To my generation?
Yes, yours.
With me being a part of my generation.
There you go.
I would tell us, you know, we need to get off our hindsides, you know, put our phones down, go out and do something, you know, help out the community, go to an outreach, you know, do something. There's so much you can do in a community. Like go to a food center. It's not called a food center.
Food care center.
Yeah, food care center. Go to theirs. Give away some food or something. There's just so much stuff you can do. I think we all just need to get up because nowadays, you know, this thing right here, this device, this cell phone, it's taking over our lives, honestly.
Isn't it Gorilla Glue to your hand? It's not.
No,
I'm just
no, it's
saying.
not. No, it's not.
You sure?
I mean, but that's how it can appear because it's just like we're so attached to it. I believe we need to put that down because you guys. I'm not saying like you guys.
I got you. We understand.
Okay. You guys didn't grow up, with all this technology and everything, and you guys found something to do. And at that point, I think we were like getting better, but now since we're inside. If you're inside, you can't really do anything. I mean, you can, but I mean, you can't really do anything for the community if you just stay inside four walls. But yeah, you always talk about comfort. We need to get out of our comfort zone. I feel like if we stay in our home, we're too comfortable. That's why we need to go out and get uncomfortable because life is not always going to be comfortable. So we need to go out, get off our high sides, like I said, and go do something. We all have. I know we all have a whole bunch of potential, but if we're just sitting on it, letting it go to waste, then I mean, there's really no point.
Very true. Very true. And you all heard that. He's 18 years old?
17.
He's 17. So, if he's going to tell us some intelligent things to do, guess what? I think we need to get up and go do them. So thank you. Okay, same question.
As far as what Martin Luther King would say, I feel like he wouldn't be too hard on us, but he would still give us some kind of tough love, because I see our community as something that's not the best but not the worst at the same time. We could definitely do better, but we could definitely be worse. So we just need to kind of try to progress ourselves to something better, like not being okay with just fine. Like he said, we always need to strive for something better. And as far as our separate communities with Killeen, Heights, and Nolanville, I feel like the way we view that is just incorrect. We see each other as different cities, but that shouldn't matter at the end of the day. At the end of the day, we're all humans, and we live on the same planet, and we should treat each other with some kind of respect. It doesn't matter where you're from, it doesn't matter who you are, the color of your skin, your age, your gender, none of that should matter. If I'm from Heights or if I'm from Killeen, I should treat someone from a different city the same way I would treat my family or my friends. I should treat them with respect. And I feel like that's something Dr. King would touch on, being respectful to each other, not seeing each other as people from different cities, but as one community. That's something that we need to work on, seeing each other as just one community. And if we could see each other as one, I feel that we would be able to progress further and make some kind of change,
So what would you say to your age group?
I'm probably going to piggyback a little bit off of what he said. There was one thing that I would disagree with him on is putting down the phones. I would tell them it's the way that you use your phone that matters. Because in this day and age, we can admit that our technology is advancing, and sooner or later, everybody's going to have, the next iPhone, the next Samsung, or supercomputers, or whatever. Everybody's going to continue to progress with technology. We're not going to go back to the Stone Age, but it's what we do with that technology that matters. It's the same for just about everything, When we were in the nuclear arms race, we could have used our nukes as just weapons of mass destruction, go around conquering everybody, but it's what we used it for. We used it to gain respect, put fear into our enemies so that we wouldn't have to use it on them. It's how you use what you have that matters. And with our phones, we could still do a lot for our community. It's like he said, we should definitely get outside and do things, stay active, try to help our community in the best way that we can. But our phones are something that are almost essential for this day and age. And the things that we do with them, like setting trends and stuff, is something that could actually help us to progress. It could spread a message, it could bring us together as a community. Now, one of the problems that I see with these setting trends is a lot of people, when I go online now, they'll say that the Black Lives Matter movement was a trend, and I I feel like that is a problem, obviously, because that takes away from the impact that it had. It's turned down to a hashtag at the end of the day, and I feel like we should be using our phones in a different way, spreading the message, like I said. And if your movement is brought down to a trend, then its power diminishes. And the people who sparked these movements, the deaths that sparked it, the events that happened that led up to this event should not be diminished down to a trend. We need to uh, set a standard for how far we are willing to go to spread our messages. And that standard should be above and beyond what we're doing right now. And that's another thing I feel like Martin Luther King would say, talking about what our standards are. At the end of the day, our standards should be, like I said, to respect each other. That's one of the most important things that I see right now. And if we can't even show some respect on equal footing to one another, then I don't foresee us ever progressing.
Wow. Okay, guys, what do you all think about these speeches?
They were profound, I mean, especially with the mere fact that the young generation is doing it, because no one's promised tomorrow. I think that they're profound because no one is promised tomorrow, and the mere fact that we know that the older generation could all die out tomorrow, and then we have to have these young men and women to be able to move forward and continue the progress that they're making. To me, it is just outstanding. I really appreciate it, and the fact that these young men and women are continuing to fight just lets you know it'll never die. And just in my opinion, I think that they've made even greater strides than what has been in the past, but that has been because the past was so effective as well. So just my take.
Okay, now we're gonna talk about the alphas right now. Okay, Steve, like, what the world she gonna say? I heard him. I heard what he said. I heard him. These other two men didn't say nothing because they really don't know me that well. But but what I need to know is, what did they show you during the course of this? What did the alphas show you? Because they're all men. They're all men of color. So what did they show you? What did they teach you? By not telling you, but just you watching them, what did you learn?
I learned about the alphas, right?
About them as men, just alphas collectively working together, how they interacted with you, how they interacted with each other, all those things.
I learned that they're really a brotherhood. They look for young men that they see something in, right? They try to help young men, they mentor young men, and they go out and they actually try to do something not just for young men but for young women too. The alphas have really been a blessing to me, and I know they've been a blessing to a whole bunch of other people in this world. The alphas they're really like, they are a lifesaver because, but they do a lot for the young generation, I believe, as far as what I know, because they've helped me through a lot. They've sent me a lot of things. They've given me some community service hours, and I just know, like, in the future to come, they're really going to be helpful for, like, especially mentorships. Alphas are really the way to go. If you need somebody to talk to, somebody to give you some advice, I believe the alphas are where it's at.
So that's what they showed you and taught you?
That's what they showed me.
But that's good.
Yes, ma'am.
That's good. So, are any of you related to any alphas?
No, ma'am. I'm
That's
not.
good. I'm not saying just just. But that's good. You're not because you didn't get that influence. You did it on your own. Okay. Next, what did you learn from the alphas? What did they teach you? What did you get from them? Not from what they told you, but from what you're watching them. Because those are two different things.
I think they taught me that there's still hope for progression for our nation because a group of black men took an idea that they had and just ran with it and it ended up being successful. I know it's like he said, it's helped a lot of people. It's been a blessing to people. And that shows me that if I have an idea and I put in the effort, the results are going to match that effort. The effort that they put in gave us this result, and I feel this is a pretty good result in my opinion. And just like my dad was saying, the old generation could die tomorrow, and they're teaching us some of the things that will help us progress the next day. So even after they're gone, we will still be able to use the lessons they taught us to continue on. Like I'm 18 now, and I still don't know what taxes even are. I can't do half of the things that adults do, but they're still taking the time out of their day to teach us those things so that I can survive in the world as an adult and continue on even after they're gone.
And that's true, and that's good. And they'll teach you about taxes. The one thing I see, and I'll say I'm gonna use myself because I know myself. I was one of the ones who did the sit-ins. I did walkouts. When I was going to school in elementary, girls could not wear pants to school. And it's archaic, I know to you all, that's like, 2,000 years ago. But anyway, girls could not wear pants to school. And the women could not wear pants to school, I'll put it that way. Even in the workplace, we couldn't. Well, we gathered together across the state of Michigan, and all the women walked out at one time. All of us, we walked out of school while someone else, the college kids, talked to the legislators. But we walked out and we stayed out until it got passed that we could wear pants to school. So I was a part of those movements. I did every walkout that the Black Panthers did. You name it, I was there. Even though I wasn't old enough to be one, I was still there, But for what I see now, I'm glad that I'm talking to you because then I know what I did and what some of us did wasn't for it's still for something. Because if we had did what we did, which we did, and you all aren't doing anything, then it didn't make sense for what we did at all. It was for nothing. But I'm glad to see that some of you have taken what we did, even though you don't know what we did, you've taken what we did and you're making a stand for something. And then you're able to move it forward because that's what we're supposed to do is you all take what we did and move it forward. Don't do what we did because some of the things that we did this for, you now have the pleasure of, So don't do exactly what we did for that reason, but the movement should not stop. So it's good that I can go sit down now. Not really, but anyway, I can. I could chill out for a minute and sit back and watch and help when I can. But I don't have to be in the forefront no more because I don't want to be there no more. I want to sit in the back. I do and watch you do it. But we have to be. And a lot of you will say, "Why don't we go sit down somewhere?" We don't sit down because there's no one next to me doing what I do. That's why we don't sit down. You wonder why we don't sit down and why we don't go somewhere and relax. Because if no one's standing beside me to take over what I do, then you leave me to stand there and keep doing it. Which is why you see a lot of us still out there. And I'll say me, I'm the oldest one in this whole room. So, I can talk. Wow. and I am. But I can say that because, like I said, if we see, like these alphas, if they saw no young men right here on the side, they would have to stay active until they saw somebody. You see what I mean? So by them doing the oratorical, by them being in the community, they can actually say, you know what, he's a possibility. He's a possibility. But if they don't see that, then alphas will die. Not them, but the organization will go, because you need that young person beside you, not behind you, beside you, so that you can say, he got it. Yeah, he got it. Okay, we can now rest. But I'm glad to hear you two, because at least I know that there are you two and a few more that are ready to pick up that baton. We didn't drop it, but you're ready to pick it up, and you're willing to move forward with it. And with Martin Luther King and everything he did it for that time, but he did it for the forward thinking. He did it to say, okay, you know what, I did this, I did that, and not to give him all the glory and the shine, but what he started these things, so we should be moving forward. We shouldn't be going backwards. Well, right now, our community is going backwards. We're on a sinking ship, and we need to fix that. We need to repair it. But to repair it, we need you. We need your age group. We need to know what you're thinking. We need to know what's in your head. We need to know that your phone is not gorilla glued to your hand. So some of you all it is, I understand. But we need to know that you can put it down and actually do something. We need to see that. And when we see it, then we relax. Then we know that our communities can change, because our communities can change. And there's a lot of things in our community that we probably need to call you and say, hey, I'm doing this over here. Will some of you come help me? We need to do that. So that's probably some of our fault. We don't tap you on the shoulder and say, hey, can you come over here? And we need to do that. We really do. Which is my reason for loving youth on the show. First, like I told you, we learned from you. It's not what we don't have it all. And I'll use cell phones. Okay, I had to ask my granddaughter how you text. When texting came out, I was like, she texted me, and I was like, yeah, okay. And I called her on the phone. She said, what you call me for? Because she said, well, I'm not going to talk to you. I'm like, okay, fine. I'm thinking, she said, you have to text me back. Okay. And yes, I'm older than her. I'm her grandmother. But she was teaching me what I taught her and her mother. So, what I did, I sat there and I studied and figured it out, and I texted her back. But she taught me that. I want everybody, I didn't learn on my own, but she taught me that. And so we need you. That's why I said we learn from you. I heard your speeches right now, and the questions I've asked you, the answers you gave, all three of these men heard you. So they got not a different take on you, but now they know more. So, when we find out more, then more is expected. That's the unfortunate part of when you know more, then more is expected of you, which is good, because our youth of today, you don't need a leader. And we know now we don't really need one leader to lead us somewhere. We've grown from that, but we do need leaders of our community to say, hey, so it's you two. It's time for you two to step up to the community, because the alphas have taught you how to speak out to people. So now you've got that. You need to perfect it. But we look forward to seeing you somewhere speaking sometime to your age group. Because what has happened with and I'm going to use our men, what I meant is, I don't know which of you three are the oldest, but a generation of men fell off. A generation of men, which is a 10-year span, correct? A generation of men fell off. And what I mean by fell off is they became comfortable. They thought that since they have a job and a place to live and a car, they arrived somewhere, but they haven't. So that generation of men fell off. So you have a generation now they're not lost, because you can't be lost, but that are confused right now. And that's because a generation of men, like I said, dropped them off. So we don't need this to happen again, because if it does, then it's your generation. So the generation above you should not be helping you. But that's the generation we lost, because the men at that time, the men above them, didn't talk to them. They didn't say anything to them. So what we need to fix as far as our men is we need to fix these generational things. Men of one generation you owe the generation under you. You owe them some knowledge. And we need to start putting it back. So with the oratorical you all did, put some knowledge back into a group that's way younger than you, but you put it back into them. Well, your job is to put it back into the ones younger than you. And if we continue that, we will, one, continue the dream, because that's what we do. Because if we saw if you all looked at some of Martin Luther King's march, you had young people in the march who were there because their parents said so. I mean, they were there. They learned, but they were there because their parents said so. Well, we need to do that now with you. And like you said, we need to get out of our comfort zone. Yes, we do. Is it easy? No, I'll say so. I'm in my comfort zone a whole bunch. I am the one that's going to go somewhere that you won't go. I'm going to go because I want to know what you're saying. I want to know what you think. I want to know so I can take it back. But we need to get out of our comfort zone. We do. We need to go places where, not that we should not be, but we're not expected to be. We need to do that. And you all need to learn to do that too. There's knowledge in other places that we're not expected to be at. We're not expected to say anything. Well, you two are speaking now, and there's some more of you. So you all need to gather together and start taking things back. Take it back. We gave away our community. We did. We gave it away to anybody that wanted it. Well, take it back. It's there. What we got to do is go get it. I said all we got to do is, and it's not hard. We need to do some of the things you said. I can not like you, but work with you every day, and I should be able to do that. You know, I should be able to. I don't like Steve today. I can't stand him. He gets on my nerves. Well, he need to be able to call me, or I need to be able to call him. Hey, listen, it's a family that needs something. We need to get together. Okay, cool. What they need? Okay, all right. Let's get it. We need to get together and deal with each other on the mission we're doing. We don't and forget the part that I can't stand him. I just want to hit him in the head. We need to get rid of that at that point and do the mission, because we need to know I cannot like you, and that's fine. But as long as we have the respect and the capability of working together, then it's okay, because no one knows the internal battle we have. No one knows that, and you should know that, and you should see it. We should be able to professionally work together, do what we need to get done on the same accord, and forget the differences. That's something we need to learn. We need to learn it a whole lot. Since with this snow we had, I swear I loved it. It was so pretty. But anyway, I was outside with the kids throwing snowballs, actually. You know, and I do have a complaint. Texas does not know how to have the right snow. They have the little fluffy, little kitty fluffy stuff. But but during the weather break, we found out some families were having some problems. You know, so I worked with somebody I can't stand. I did, and no one knew that. At the end, everybody, I didn't know you two were friends. I was like, oh yeah, no, we're not. But for what we had to do, we were tight. We were shopping to get things. We were working so well till we probably forgot we didn't like each other. But the thing is, for a goal and for a cause, we came together, and people first of all didn't know we knew each other or anything like that. But we actually did that, and we proved that we could do that. Well, we need to teach that to your generation. We need to teach that to a lot of other people, that, it's fine. It's not fine, but, if someone don't get along, just learn how to get along. We need to learn to get along and move along, but we need your generation to step up to the plate. We need you all to come on in, because it's time. It's time out for some of us to go and tell some other group what to do or how to do it. It's time out for that. It's time for you to learn from us, and then you go say it. It's time for those things, that change to take place. I think you are ready, and I'll thank the Alphas for helping prepare you to be ready, because the whole ideal is who's preparing you. Who's leading you? If you follow some of our groups in our city right now, we have some groups that are flawed. We have some groups that came together. We have a group of men that came together, and their mission sounds good. But then I asked, that question was, they're a group, they're a little organization, and I said, so can I see your bylaws? They said, by who? I'm like, whoops. Like, oh, okay. I figured, okay, that's lesson number one. And I didn't have that time at that moment to say this is what they are. I start asking them questions of things I know a group should have, and they didn't. So I see the future of that group dying because when they go to talk to someone else, those skills that they need, they don't have. And they're men of color. So when they go out, like I said, the group's going to die. Now, their mission is great. I love the reason they formed. I love it. They can tell you why they formed. But I said, when do you all meet? Oh, when we need to. Okay. So those are some issues that I think our older men, need to go and say, hey, I need y'all to sit down for a minute. Need to fix this. Because they're going to fail. And they're going to blame the community for failing. And halfway they're right, and half they're wrong. But that's what's going on right now in our community. I watch our community. I can tell you basically what goes on in our community from bottom to the top because I'm involved in the community. Because if I'm not involved in it, I need to get out of it. That's my thought. I should be able to ask anybody that's involved in the community any question. I expect an answer, and I actually do. Like ask Steve. I do expect you to have the answer because if you say you work in the community, then I think I should be able to ask you, where the guns are in the community. Who should we get rid of? Not get rid of, like kill them, but get rid of, get rid of them, or who do we need to go talk to? I expect you to know because that's part of being community strong. You can't be community strong if you don't know your community. It makes things kind of hard to do so. So I want you all to step up and hold a rally for the kids, for your group. There's enough of you in the city, correct, isn't it?
Yes, ma'am.
So why don't you all hold a rally? Why not? It can be done. I know. He's like, man, she asking us to step way up. I'm asking you to step out of your comfort zone. Just like you just said we need to. So I'm asking you to.
That's why you can't sit down. You're needed in the community in order to push us to the next level. And it's because of you that since I've known you, now going on what? Almost 20 years?
Yes.
Almost 20 years. You're pushing me to help my organization get young men like that into oratorical contests are very important. And as you said last night, working with the community when there's a need, being there for that community. I'm glad to hear you say that there was a brother that was there.
I'll let you all know who it is after the show.
Okay.
But yes, in fact, he's been with us the whole time.
I apologize. I want to take the time to correct myself.
Oh, sure.
Earlier.
Okay.
First place was Mr. Jamal Coleman.
Okay.
Second place was Mr. Artis Tyson. And third place was Mr. Lamont Washington. I want to correct that from earlier. But these young men, two of them have been with us. Oh, no. Yeah, two of them have been with us from the start.
Yeah.
And I want to thank Mr. Jamal for stating that he was with us at the beginning. He has done great as we watched him progress and being our first place winner this year. I know he's happy about that, being a senior, and he won't be able to be back with us next year. Impressed by Mr. Washington, I want to say to him, continue. Your words shared just today were very inspiring to hear young people state about how they feel the community is and working in the community and using their cell phones to, hey, let's all meet up. We're going to meet up and do this, do that. Yes, it's gorilla glue to their hand. They don't want to admit to it, but it can be used for a good purpose.
That's very true. That's very true. And I'm glad that you all came on the show. And I will offer you, I don't offer this to the adults really, I don't. But accidentally they kind of catch on. If you all are doing something, when you all start creating things and having events, you can come back on the show and talk about it. Invite people, rally, whatever you're having. Don't come on the day before, but come on like a week or two prior. You all can come on and tell everybody what you're doing. I do the show because it's a community show, and it allows us to have a voice of what we're doing. And if you all don't, I won't have a show. There will be no need for it, for it. But it's a community show, and I want to work more with our young people, getting your word out to teach you how to get the word out. Because it is a teachable moment, for you to create something and go, now I got to go talk about it. Yes, you do. So if you all are going to do anything in the future, just let me know, and you can come on the show and talk about it. If you're creating something, do the same thing. The young man who did the rally this summer, rallying people up, he came on the show, and his rally was phenomenally huge because he did that whole stay out, not work day, no working, no nothing day. He created that one day, and it went all across the United States. And he told me how he did it, and I was like, wow. It was phenomenal what he did. And it was like, I didn't think that could be done. I did not think that could be done. But he did it, and he's a young guy. But we want to see more of what you all do. And I want you all to feel comfortable coming on to talk about it. And if you need anyone's help, ask. If you want to know how we did something a while ago, ask. The crazy thing, we've done some crazy, stupid things to grow up. We have, really, really have. But ask us, and we should tell you what roadblocks we had that you won't have. We could tell you roadblocks that we had that were little for you that might be huge. But ask us and demand an answer. We're living to pass on knowledge. To me, if we don't pass on knowledge, we should go sit in the woods and just sit there for whatever happens, because you're no more good. You're no good if you have knowledge and you don't pass it. I don't need you. You're a wasteful person, and I don't need you. And that's my thought process, period. So if we have knowledge and you need it, ask us for it. Our job is to give it. That's what we're here for. And the outcome of the knowledge that the alphas gave you is what you all said today, that they've never heard you say, but it came from you all being with them. Not just talking with them, but watching them. So I want to thank you all for coming on the show today. And I want to thank you, alphas, for what you do in the community for our young men, because they need you more now than before, because our young men are being under attack all kind of ways. Because right now, if I get another call about a young man's hair, I'm going to send the alphas on a trip, because our boys are getting attacked by their hair a lot right now, a lot in Texas, and I think that's wrong. But I need to see some men step up to these districts and say, no, just no. And that's a big problem. It's bigger than you think. It really is. And I deal with it like every day, and it's no fun. It's no fun because it's stupid. It doesn't make any sense. But our young men are being attacked by the hair, and we need to stop it. We don't need to slow it down. We need to stop it. Because those of us like me, when I was in school, I had an afro, and I wore a pick in the back of my head. Don't laugh at me, okay? But I did. I didn't get in trouble for it. You know what I mean? We didn't get in trouble for that. We went to school with it, and nobody said anything. But now you wear your hair in locks and braids, or however, or like your hair is, and it's a big, huge issue now. So we need to come together and fight that. You all need to fight it, too. If you look it up, it's a bill called the Crown Act in Texas. So you all need to look up the Crown Act. And guess what? You all that are 18 that's registered to vote, y'all need to vote. And those of us, we need to be calling our legislators to pass that bill. Pass the bill? Just pass it. Because that's what you all can do now. That's what you all have the power to do today, is to tell them, pass it and stop the madness. Okay? All right. Well, I want to thank everyone for listening to KISS Community Connections this morning. I hope we had a very powerful learning day. I did. I have fun listening to young people that have some direction. And it's okay. Your phone is Gorilla Glue to your hand. I'll deal with that. I'm using Gorilla Glue on purpose. Y'all know that, right? But as normal, I want everybody to walk away from listening to the show with learning something and getting up and doing something. I don't think the weather should hinder people. I don't know why people say it's whatever and I can't go. I don't know what that means. It kind of stuck getting it, but we need to get up and listen to our young people. First of all, we need to assist them in moving forward. We're laying the path. We need to continue laying the path for them to move forward, to get done what needs to be done. But and I want to thank you all for coming on the show and thank the Alphas for making sure they got here and everything like that. But I want the community to always remember you cannot live a positive life with a negative mind. And we'll talk to you next Sunday. Bye.